So today we're talking about the $4,000 stimulus as well as the second round of $1,200 stimulus checks. There's a lot of new exciting updates that I want to share with you, but if you've been watching my YouTube channel for a while now, you know that sometimes I like to throw in a few magic tricks to help explain some of the more nuanced topics about government and finance. So I want to do that for you right now, because right here I have what looks to be a set of ordinary objects, but they're anything but ordinary. These objects represent what economists refer to as the macroeconomic equilibrium. This is no ordinary water bottle. This is what economists refer to as the primary layer of economics, and it represents people like you and I and all the jobs that are within and all the layers that get built on top. Layers like these two, secondary and tertiary layers of government bonds and currency. Now they aren't obviously those things, but let's use our imagination because I'm going to put them right beside of us and I'll show you what looks like an ordinary pencil, but it's actually the stock market, and it rests on top of these two layers. Let's see if we can do something impossible with it. It gets balanced on the edge of a knife, just like the real thing right now. And here we have not an ordinary toothbrush, because this is the real estate market. And it feels a little light because interest rates are low, but the real estate market balances on top of the most important thing, and that's our jobs. And it gets balanced and rests on top just like that, on top of the stock market. And this is the harmonious economic equilibrium of stability and growth. That is the economy that we want to live in, but that's not the reality of things right now. Here's what we actually live in right now. The stock market, for some odd reason, is balanced right on top of real estate. Let's see if we can do this. Just like that. I know physics don't apply here, but things are about to get a lot crazier, because inside of currency we have here what looks like a crayon, but it's actually about to be important in just a second, because we have these two layers and they're going to rest right on top of the stock market, just like this. And this rests on top of real estate, which rests on top of you and I. Things are about to get a lot crazier because currency isn't actually flat. It's balanced as well. But it's not a perfect balance, because currency is actually devalued because of all the printing that the Fed is doing. The last piece of this puzzle is actually this, the Federal Reserve. It sits on top of everything, and it's what tips the scales of the whole economy. That is the economy that we're actually living in right now. Nothing really makes sense here, but neither does the stock market with its all-time highs, and neither does the real estate market, which looks so stable. Despite our lack of jobs, our currency is sitting at the brink of collapse, and all we have is the Fed to help us balance our way through this. Hi, my name is Andrei, Jikh. Hope you're staying healthy, but if you sick, click the like button, and if you thick, smash that like button, because that magic trick did not happen on its own. That took staying up till 5 a.m. in the morning trying to figure out how to integrate complex, nuanced economic theories into this video, and I think Papa Powell would be very proud. So if you haven't done so already, pow that like button for Papa J Powell. So let's get to the important stuff, Phase 4 of the CARES Act. Now, Phase 4 is going to largely focus in on the manufacturing sector. And this is very smart because this has ripple consequences on other sectors like hospitality, entertainment, and travel. And here in Las Vegas, this is what we so desperately need help with. Because if you ignore these industries that are considered non-essential or discretionary spending, this will have bad ripple consequences on the entire economy. So to fight this, here's where that $4,000 comes in. The president asked to create an Explore America tax that Americans can can use for domestic travel, including visits to restaurants. That's a big deal. So in response, the US Travel Agency put together a very specific proposal that the president seems to really like. And in case you're not sure who the US Travel Agency is, it's a nonprofit organization that focuses and promotes research and policy in order to get money so they can grow more jobs in the travel industry, which right now is responsible for 1 out of 10 of every American job. Explore America gives tax credits of up to 50% on all travel-related expenses, including groceries, restaurants, business meetings, gas, and entertainment. Now, the maximum limit of this is $4,000. The catch, though, is that the expense has to be greater than $50 while traveling away, but within the United States. But there's no definition of what it exactly means to be traveling away from home, because technically, I'm traveling away from home when I go to Walmart. Does that count? So this tax credit would last until December 31st, 2021. But you can probably already see a problem with it because it only benefits those who are wealthy enough to travel in the first place. Because it's not like we actually get $4,000 into our pockets. It's just a tax write-off. So even though the president seems to really like this idea, I doubt that it's going to see traction anywhere else. Now, with regards to the $1,200 stimulus checks, round 2, here it is directly from the turtle's mouth.
If we need to do more, we will. Keep your eye on July.
So keep your eyes on the prize. In other news, Mitch McConnell is also going to be dropping his mixtape pretty soon, and it's going to be a special iTunes release, and I heard it's going to be fire because it's going to feature special guest Federal Reserve Chairman P. Diddy. That's Powell Diddy, and I heard he's going to be spitballing some Benjamins at us because his life's dope. And he do dope prints. So now the ball is in the Senate's court, and the specific days by which the Senate-controlled Republicans are going to work on their proposal is going to take place after recess, which starts July 3rd and goes all the way until July 17th. And I think recess is the perfect word to describe 5th grade bickering children who can't come together to get anything done, aka Congress. However, if they do drag it on and nothing gets done, the next key date to watch for is August 8th. And if nothing by August 8th, then the next key date is September 8th, because they're gonna go on another month-long recess. I still think they're not gonna drag it on that long, because if they do, the economy is gonna get way worse, and then I'm gonna have to go riot. But if by some miracle there's a proposal that is agreed upon by all the branches of the government and it gets signed into law, then we will most likely get our checks sometime on the weekend of August 22nd or August 23rd, with most people receiving their direct deposits at the beginning of September, and that is the official outlook. Now, specifically, what we'll actually get will hinge upon this one simple fact: how large the stimulus deal will be. And right now, the grand old party has the smallest package size at a cap of $1 trillion. The president wants $2 trillion, which sounds a lot more reasonable to me, and the third package deal is, of course, the Democrats, which we already know want $3 trillion. And unfortunately, that is the only proposal that's actually on paper right now. So between plan 1, 2, and 3... I'm just kidding. They just need to pick one. Also, the $600 weekly unemployment benefit runs out at the end of July, so be prepared. The amount of people that claimed that benefit was 1.5 million people just last week, marking the 13th week in a row that people have been asking for help. But there is some good news, because the White House is considering lowering that $600 limit down to $300 or maybe even $250 per week, which is just enough money to hopefully encourage people to get back to work, but not too much money to where it encourages them to stay home indefinitely. Another good bit of news is that a second stimulus check will most likely not be smaller than the first one. The first one cost us exactly $413 billion. So if we want to send out another one, no matter whose proposal we go with, whether it's the Democratic $3 trillion proposal, the presidential $2 trillion, or the Republican $1 trillion, it all fits within everybody's budget. The biggest issue with all of this is that Congress is rich. The president is rich. And sure, that could be an advantage, but right now it's a big disadvantage because they lack a sense of urgency. Some of them are multimillionaires with investment properties. Some of them are millionaires with dividend stocks that pay them tons and tons of money. And right now they're getting paid nearly $200,000 to just sit there and do nothing but bicker, argue, and fight, letting their pride destroy the country. But ask yourself this simple question: how quickly would things change if they got furloughed or laid off with no paid vacations, no more job, and they didn't get paid our tax dollars to go on recess. That would be really interesting to me if we just gave them a $1,200 stimulus check and that's all they got until they at least voted what was already proposed on. I bet things would change so fast and things would actually get done. Why is this not a thing? It's not a thing because it's difficult to agree on what the actual facts are, which is why Republicans don't think that we need another stimulus check. But when polled back in April, 82% of Americans said that $1,200 was simply not enough. So here are some facts and numbers directly from marketplace.org. Our GDP has fallen 5% due to lack of consumer spending. But get this, the richest of Americans saw the biggest decrease to their shopping habits at negative 16.8%. Meanwhile, the poorest of Americans saw only a drop of 4%. Which actually makes sense because they've been probably contributing the least amount of money to consumer spending, therefore they have the least to cut back on. Meanwhile, middle-class Americans dropped by negative 9.9%, so somewhere in the middle. But what's interesting to me out of all these numbers is that the richest of Americans cut back the most on their spending, which makes total sense because they're the better savers and managers of money. And unfortunately, if you're looking for a job right now, new job listings have decreased by 16.4%. That is millions of jobs lost. And if you're young and you just recently graduated from college and you're burdened by massive amounts of debt and you can't find anything, then don't worry, it's not your fault and it's not just you. And the total cost for us to recover from this economic nightmare is around $1 trillion per year for the next 3 years. And just to put things in perspective, the Federal Reserve balance sheet stood at around $4 trillion at the end of February in 2020. Now, we are at around $7 trillion. So we've nearly doubled this year alone. And $1 trillion is an insane amount of money. That's $1 million. So if we do this right, by pumping more money into the system, this will create around 9 million new jobs per year. Hopefully, within 2 to 3 years, we will get back right to where we've started. And that is an optimistic outlook. I know how terrifying all of this is because literally everybody in my house have lost their jobs. My mom, my dad, my girlfriend, my roommate. Vegas is getting hammered the most because we're a tourist-based economy and nobody's coming here. In fact, I went to one of these casinos and most of them are still dark and I could hear the echo in my voice. It was kind of terrifying, but we're slowly opening up and slowly the jobs are coming back, but we're still at a turtle's pace. So I would take that stimulus money, and the best way that I would find to protect myself against all of this is to learn as much as possible about credit cards, investing, saving money, but more importantly, I would use that money to spend it on myself to learn a new valuable skill in this new economy. If I wasn't doing YouTube right now, I'd be learning how to code. Or maybe I'd be learning everything there is to know about AI and the future of technology. But now that I have done YouTube, I finally understand the real power of YouTube, and it's not the income that people say we make. It's all about the connections and the personal relationships and the friendships that we build that's worth way more than any dollar amount. Not really, that's a complete lie. When you say it out loud, it just sounds nice. The money's worth more, sure. But building brand awareness is going to better position you for the future of our economy, which seems to be heading in that direction. So if you can make some kind of an online presence, you will be so much better off in the future. It just takes time. I realize it's not easy for everybody in every moment in their life, but if you can do it, I promise it is so worthwhile. The lesson here is clear. Try to rely less on businesses and governments and corporations to help support you. It's what I did when I quit my job because I had enough of a passive income from my dividends to go free. And once I had just barely enough money, I leveraged it to use my free time to build here. And my minimal expenses were so low, it doesn't even sound believable because I only needed to pay $800 to $1,000 per month to survive, but I had a roommate and a girlfriend to split expenses with, so it was doable. And I did this for 6 months before I was even paid a single dollar here on YouTube, which sounds insane, but it was what little I needed as a proof of concept to continue going. And a year and a half later, I don't even know what my life is anymore, and I can't believe I took that step. But it started with that investment that gave me the courage to leave my job, to build this thing in the first place, and I want that for everybody because you deserve it. Unfortunately, I don't have a course to sell you on how to do it yet. But if you're ready to take your first steps by reaching financial independence, then you can start investing responsibly by getting 3 free stocks. You can get 2 free stocks by signing up to Webull. They'll give you 1 free stock worth up to $250 in value. And if you fund that account $100, you get another free stock worth up to $1,400. You can get a 3rd free stock from Robinhood, and that's 3 free stocks to get you started with investing so you can take those baby steps and do exactly what I did, because it's honestly not that difficult. Love you. Thank you so much. You can follow me on Instagram. I post there from time to time. I will see you back here on Monday and Friday. Happy past Juneteenth. Bye-bye.